Welcome back to Stamps Old World UK. Today we are exploring one of the most famous and recognizable stamps ever issued by the United States Postal Service, the beautiful red 2-cent George Washington stamp. This classic stamp is more than just a small piece of paper. It is a symbol of American history, postal heritage, and the fascinating world of stamp collecting that continues to attract collectors and investors from every corner of the globe. If you love old stamps, hidden treasures, and discovering the stories behind historical collectibles, then this is a stamp you will definitely want to know about. The 2-cent Washington stamp became one of the most widely used postage stamps in American history. Featuring the portrait of George Washington, the first president of the United States, the design represented patriotism, leadership, and national identity. Millions upon millions of letters, postcards, official documents, and business correspondence traveled across America carrying this small red stamp. For many people during its time, this stamp was part of daily life, appearing on mail sent between families, businesses, and government offices. One of the reasons collectors admire this stamp so much is because it represents an important period in American postal history. During the early 20th century, postal services were expanding rapidly, and stamps like this became essential for communication across a growing nation. Long before emails, social media, and instant messaging, a simple letter bearing this stamp connected people separated by hundreds or even thousands of miles. Every surviving example carries with it a silent story of the journey it once made through cities, towns, and rural communities. The design itself is elegant and timeless. The bright red color immediately captures attention, while the detailed engraving demonstrates the remarkable craftsmanship of stamp printing during that era. The portrait of George Washington is surrounded by decorative scrollwork and the words United States Postage, creating a balanced and classic appearance that has remained popular among collectors for generations. Even collectors who specialize in stamps from Europe, Asia, Africa, or the Commonwealth often keep examples of this stamp in their collections because of its historical significance. Now let us talk about the question many collectors ask. What is the market value of this stamp today in United States dollars? The answer depends on several important factors, including condition, centering, gum quality, perforations, cancellation marks, and rarity of the specific printing variety. A common used example with a postmark can often sell for between $1 and $5 in today's market. A clean, unused example with original gum may sell for around $10 to $25, depending on quality and demand. Well-centered, mint examples in excellent condition can command higher prices ranging from $30 to $75 or even more. Professionally graded examples with exceptional centering and preservation can achieve prices above $100 at specialized auctions. Rare printing varieties, plate errors, unusual perforations, or stamps found on original covers with historically important postmarks may reach several $100s or significantly higher depending on collector interest and rarity. Stamp condition remains the single most important factor affecting value. Collectors look carefully for sharp corners, bright colors, intact perforations, and clean surfaces free from tears, creases, stains, or heavy cancellations. Two stamps that appear almost identical at first glance may have dramatically different market values simply because one has better centering or superior preservation. This is why professional grading services play such an important role in the modern stamp market. Another reason this stamp remains popular is affordability. Unlike extremely rare stamps that sell for thousands or millions of dollars, the 2-cent Washington stamp allows beginners to own an authentic piece of American postal history without spending a fortune. This accessibility has helped introduce countless new collectors to the hobby of philately. Many experienced collectors today began their journey with common historical stamps just like this one. The global stamp market has changed significantly in recent years. Online marketplaces, international auctions, and digital catalogs have made it easier than ever for collectors to buy, sell, and trade stamps across borders. Demand for classic United States stamps remains strong, particularly for high-quality examples with certification from recognized grading organizations. While common examples may not make someone rich overnight, Premium examples continue to attract serious attention from collectors and investors alike. For collectors searching through old family albums, inherited collections, or forgotten boxes stored in attics and cupboards, finding a stamp like this can be exciting. Although most examples are common, there is always the possibility of discovering a rare variety or exceptionally preserved specimen worth considerably more than expected. This element of discovery is one of the reasons stamp collecting remains such a rewarding hobby, even in the digital age. Stamp collecting is not only about financial value. It is about preserving history, understanding culture, and connecting with the stories of previous generations. Every stamp represents a moment in time. It reflects politics, art, technology, and the everyday lives of ordinary people who once depended on postal services for communication. When collectors hold a stamp like the 2-cent Washington issue, they are holding a small but important piece of world history. For new collectors entering the hobby, this stamp offers an excellent starting point for learning about watermark varieties, perforation measurements, printing methods, paper types, and postal history. Studying these details can transform a simple stamp into an exciting research project filled with discoveries and historical connections. The more you learn about stamps, the more fascinating the hobby becomes. The future of classic stamps remains bright. As physical mail becomes less common in the digital era, surviving examples of historical stamps become increasingly important as cultural artifacts. Younger generations are beginning to rediscover the appeal of collecting tangible pieces of history, and classic issues like the red 2-cent Washington stamp continue to inspire curiosity and appreciation around the world. Next up, the famous 2-cent George Washington postage due-style issue that remains one of the most attractive and collectible classic American stamps ever produced. At first glance, many collectors notice the bold red color and the familiar portrait of George Washington, but this stamp holds much more than beautiful design. It tells a story of American postal history, government communication, and the evolution of stamp collecting that continues to fascinate collectors around the world. This remarkable stamp features the portrait of George Washington, the first president of the United States and one of the most important figures in American history. His image appeared on many American stamps over the years because he symbolized leadership, independence, and national unity. The detailed engraving work on this issue demonstrates the incredible skill of the printers who created these miniature masterpieces. More than a century ago, the bold lettering, reading United States of America, and the strong decorative frame make this issue stand out from ordinary postage stamps. Collectors often admire the elegant balance between the portrait, the denomination, and the surrounding ornamental details. The bright red color was chosen not only for its visual appeal, but also to make the stamp instantly recognizable. During postal handling and processing, this stamp belongs to an important period in American philately when postal services were expanding rapidly across the country. During this era, letters and documents traveled by train, horse carriage, steamship, and early motor vehicles. Every piece of mail represented communication between families, businesses, government offices, and communities spread across a vast nation. Stamps like this became silent witnesses to countless personal stories and historic events. Now let us discuss the market value of this fascinating stamp in today's collector market. The value can vary significantly depending on several important factors including condition, centering, gum preservation, paper quality, rarity, and whether the stamp belongs to a special variety or printing issue. A common example in average condition may have a market value ranging from approximately $2 to $10 in today's market. A clean and attractive unused example can often sell for between $15 and $40 depending on collector demand and overall appearance. Examples with original gum and excellent centering generally attract stronger prices among collectors, premium. Examples that have been professionally graded and certified may reach values between $50 and $150 or even higher. Exceptional examples with perfect margins, bright color, and outstanding preservation can command impressive auction results. Rare varieties, printing errors, imperforate versions, or unusual production characteristics may be worth several $100s and occasionally much more if collector demand is strong. Condition remains the most important factor affecting value. Collectors carefully inspect every detail, including corners, margins, paper freshness, color intensity, and any signs of damage such as creases, stains, thinning, tears, or repairs. Two examples of the same stamp can differ dramatically in price, simply because one has superior preservation and appearance. Many collectors also search for stamps that remain attached to original envelopes or postal documents. Covers with unusual postmarks, historical significance, or interesting destinations can often be worth far more than the stamp alone because they provide additional historical context and postal history value. One reason collectors love stamps like this is because they provide an affordable opportunity to own an authentic piece of American history. While some legendary stamps sell for hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars, classic Washington issues allow collectors of all budgets to participate in the exciting world of Philately. The international market for classic American stamps remains active and healthy. Collectors from the United Kingdom, Europe, Asia, Australia, and North America continue to seek quality examples for their collections. Auction houses regularly feature important Washington issues, and demand for high-grade certified material remains particularly strong. For collectors searching through inherited collections, old albums, estate sales, antique shops, and forgotten boxes in attics, discovering a stamp like this can be a thrilling experience. Although many examples are common, rare varieties and exceptional specimens continue to appear unexpectedly, proving that hidden treasures still exist in the world of stamp collecting. Stamp collecting offers much more than financial value. Every stamp tells a story about the country that issued it, the people who used it, and the era in which it circulated. These small pieces of paper connect us directly with history in a way that few other collectibles can achieve. As the world moves further into digital communication, historic stamps become even more important as reminders of a time when handwritten letters carried emotions, news, business transactions, and family connections across continents and oceans. The survival of these stamps allows future generations to appreciate the craftsmanship and history of the postal world. For new collectors entering the hobby, stamps such as this provide an excellent introduction to engraving techniques, postal rates, paper varieties, watermark identification, and grading standards. Every stamp opens a doorway to deeper research and greater appreciation for history and design. Thank you for joining Stamps Old World UK for another journey through the fascinating world of classic stamps and postal history. If you enjoy discovering rare stamps, learning about market values, and exploring the stories hidden behind these tiny historical treasures, be sure to continue following Stamps Old World UK for more exciting videos from the world of Philately. Until next time, keep collecting, keep learning, and remember that every old stamp may hold a story waiting to be discovered. Next up, the famous red 2-cent United States postage stamp, featuring a beautifully engraved side-profile portrait that became one of the most recognizable postal designs in American history. This small stamp may appear simple at first glance, but behind its elegant design lies a remarkable story of communication, history, collecting, and market value that continues to attract collectors around the world even today. During the early decades of the 20th century, this 2-cent stamp played an important role in everyday life across the United States. Millions of letters carrying family news, business agreements, legal papers, postcards, and important announcements traveled through the postal system using this very denomination. At a time when there were no emails, smartphones, or social media platforms, stamps like this served as the lifeline connecting people across cities, states, and entire regions of the country. Collectors admire this stamp because it represents an important chapter in postal history. It belongs to an era when engraved stamp printing reached extraordinary levels of artistic quality and precision. Every detail of the portrait, every decorative line, and every fine engraving pattern demonstrates the incredible craftsmanship of the printers who created these miniature works of art. Even after more than a century, the design still appears elegant, powerful, and instantly recognizable to collectors worldwide. The rich red color of the stamp has become one of its most memorable characteristics. Bright and attractive, The color ensured visibility on envelopes while also creating a visually impressive design that stood out among other issues of the period. Many collectors are drawn to this stamp simply because of its striking appearance and historical charm. Some collectors specialize entirely in these classic American issues and spend years searching for examples with perfect centering and exceptional quality. Now let us discuss the question that interests many viewers and collectors around the world. What is the market value of this stamp in today's market in United States dollars? The answer depends greatly on several important factors, including condition, centering, cancellation marks, gum quality for unused examples, perforation quality, and whether the stamp belongs to a rare variety or printing issue. A typical used example with a visible postmark and average condition usually sells for approximately $1 to $4 in today's collector market. Examples that are cleaner, better centered, and have lighter cancellations may reach prices between $5 and $15. Unused examples retaining original gum often command higher prices and may sell for $15 to $40 depending on overall condition and collector demand. Mint examples with excellent centering, strong color, and original gum can reach prices between $50 and $100 or more in specialized auctions and dealer sales. Professionally graded examples with superior preservation may achieve even higher values because collectors are often willing to pay premium prices for exceptional quality. Rare varieties involving printing errors, unusual perforations, color shifts, or plate flaws can be worth several $100s and occasionally much more depending on rarity and demand. Condition remains the most important factor in determining value. Collectors carefully inspect every detail, including perforation integrity, paper quality, freshness of color, centering of the design, and any signs of damage or repair. A stamp with missing perforations, heavy creases, stains, or tears may lose a significant portion of its value, while a perfectly preserved example can attract serious competition among collectors. One of the most exciting aspects of collecting stamps like this is the possibility of discovering hidden varieties. Some stamps that appear ordinary at first glance may contain small differences in printing, paper, watermark, or perforation measurements that transform them into highly desirable collector items. This is why many experienced philatelists spend hours examining their collections with magnifying glasses and specialized tools. The popularity of this stamp continues because it is both historic and accessible. Unlike legendary rarities worth millions of dollars, this issue allows new collectors to own a genuine piece of postal history without spending enormous amounts of money. For many people, stamps like this become the beginning of a lifelong passion for philately and historical research. The modern stamp market has expanded dramatically thanks to international auctions and online marketplaces. Collectors from Europe, Asia, North America, Australia, and Africa can now trade and purchase classic stamps with ease. High-quality examples of classic United States issues continue to enjoy strong demand, especially among collectors seeking to complete historical collections or invest in certified material. For anyone searching through inherited collections, old family albums, antique boxes, or forgotten envelopes stored away for decades, finding one of these stamps can be an exciting moment. While most examples are common, exceptional quality pieces and rare varieties still appear unexpectedly from time to time, reminding collectors that hidden treasures can still be discovered. Stamp collecting is about far more than money. Every stamp carries a story of human communication and historical change. These tiny pieces of paper traveled across countries and oceans, delivering messages of celebration, hope, business, friendship, and family connection. Holding an old stamp means holding a surviving witness to history itself. For beginners entering the hobby, this stamp provides an excellent opportunity to learn about engraving methods, postal rates, perforation measurements, printing techniques, and market grading standards. Every detail opens a new door into the fascinating world of philately, where history and collecting come together in a truly unique way. As technology continues to replace traditional mail, historical stamps become increasingly important as cultural artifacts from another era. Future generations may see these stamps not only as collectibles, but also as symbols of a time when written letters connected the world in ways that modern technology can never fully replace.
Welcome back to Stamps Old World UK, Today we are exploring a fascinating United States postage stamp that has become a favorite among collectors around the world. If you enjoy learning about classic stamps, their history, their printing varieties, and their current market value, then this video is for you. Today we will take a close look at the beautiful 15-cent Oliver Wendell Holmes commemorative stamp. We will discuss who Oliver Wendell Holmes was, why this stamp was issued, its design, printing details, rarity, condition factors, and most importantly, how much it is worth in today's stamp market. Make sure you stay until the end, because I will also share some valuable collecting tips that could help you discover whether a similar stamp in your collection is worth just a few cents or several dollars. The stamp you see here is the United States 15-cent Oliver Wendell Holmes commemorative stamp. At first glance, it may appear to be just another ordinary vintage postage stamp, but every stamp has a story to tell. This stamp honors one of the greatest legal minds in American history, Oliver Wendell Holmes Jr. He served as an Associate Justice of the United States Supreme Court for nearly 30 years and became famous for his influence on American constitutional law. His opinions continue to be studied by law students, historians, and judges even today. The United States Postal Service recognized his remarkable contributions by issuing this attractive commemorative stamp featuring his portrait. The portrait on this stamp is beautifully engraved, using the traditional line engraving process that was common for United States stamps during the 20th century. The deep reddish-purple color gives the stamp a classic appearance that collectors admire. The detailed engraving highlights Holmes's distinctive mustache, serious expression, and formal attire, making this one of the more recognizable portraits in American philately. The large 15-cent denomination printed in the upper left corner also makes the stamp visually appealing, especially for collectors who specialize in higher denomination commemorative issues. This stamp was issued in 1968 as part of the Prominent Americans series. The series honored important Americans who made lasting contributions in politics, science, literature, law, education, medicine, and public service. Many famous personalities appeared in this series, making it one of the most popular definitive stamp collections produced by the United States Post Office Department. Unlike commemorative stamps that are printed for a limited period, definitive stamps like this one were printed in larger quantities because they were intended for everyday postal use. That means millions of copies were produced, but surviving examples in exceptional condition are still highly sought after by collectors. The stamp carries a face value of 15 cents, which represented an important postal rate during its period of use. At the time it was issued, 15 cents paid for specific postal services, making it an important working stamp in everyday American mail. Countless letters, legal documents, business correspondence, and international mail pieces traveled across the country bearing this very design. Every used copy tells a story of communication during the late 1960s and early 1970s. One of the most interesting aspects of stamp collecting is learning how stamps were manufactured. This Oliver Wendell Holmes stamp was produced by the Bureau of Engraving and Printing using the engraved printing method. Engraved stamps are admired because of their sharp lines and fine detail. If you gently tilt the stamp under a light or examine it with magnification, you can often appreciate the raised ink created during the engraving process. This level of craftsmanship is one reason engraved United States stamps remain highly respected among collectors worldwide. Now let us discuss condition, because condition is one of the biggest factors affecting market value. If your stamp has bright original color, sharp perforations, centered design, and clean gum on the back if it is unused, it will command a higher price than one with faults. Collectors carefully inspect whether the perforations are complete, whether there are tears, creases, stains, fading, thins, or heavy cancellations. Even a common stamp can become much more desirable if it is preserved in superb condition. Centering is another major factor. Stamp collectors often judge how evenly the design sits within the perforated margins. A perfectly centered stamp, with equal margins on all four sides, is considered much more attractive than one where the design is shifted toward one edge. Professional grading services can assign numerical grades, and exceptionally high-grade examples often sell for many times the value of average copies. Now let us talk about today's market value. which is the question many collectors ask first. A used Oliver Wendell Holmes 15-cent stamp in average condition generally sells for around 25 cents to $1. A clean used example with an attractive cancellation and excellent centering may sell for $1 to $3 depending on demand. An unused mint example with original gum typically ranges from $1 to $5. Never hinged mint examples in excellent condition may reach $5 to $15, especially if they have outstanding centering and fresh color. Professionally graded examples with exceptionally high grades can sometimes sell for $25, $50, or even more when offered through specialized philatelic auctions. While these higher prices are not common, they demonstrate how condition can dramatically influence the value of an otherwise common stamp. Collectors should also remember that stamps sold individually often bring lower prices than those included in specialized collections or complete series. If you own the full Prominent American series in matching condition, the complete set may attract stronger interest from collectors than a single stamp alone. Complete collections often receive premium prices because buyers appreciate acquiring an entire series at once. Another factor affecting value is whether the stamp has unusual varieties. Printing errors, missing colors, dramatic misperforations, double impressions, or production flaws can significantly increase value. Although such varieties are rare, they always deserve careful examination. If you believe your stamp has an unusual characteristic, it is worth consulting an experienced stamp dealer or obtaining a professional expert certificate before making any decisions about selling it. The popularity of United States classic and modern stamps continues to grow as new collectors enter the hobby every year. Online marketplaces, stamp auctions, collector clubs, and philatelic exhibitions have made buying and selling stamps easier than ever before. However, collectors should always compare recent selling prices rather than relying solely on old catalog values because the market changes over time based on supply, demand, and collector interest. If you discover this stamp in an old family album, do not rush to remove it carelessly. Always use proper stamp tongs rather than your fingers because natural skin oils can damage delicate paper and reduce collector value. Store stamps in acid-free albums or archival quality stockbooks to preserve their condition for future generations. Proper storage is one of the easiest ways to protect the value of any stamp collection. Many beginners believe that every old stamp is automatically valuable, but experienced collectors know that rarity, demand, condition, centering, gum quality, cancellation quality, and authenticity all work together to determine market price. Even though this Oliver Wendell Holmes stamp was printed in large numbers, premium quality examples remain desirable because collectors appreciate beautiful engraved American stamps and the historical importance of the individual portrayed. Oliver Wendell Holmes Jr. left an extraordinary legacy in American legal history, and this stamp serves as a lasting tribute to his remarkable career. Every time collectors examine this stamp, they are reminded not only of a famous Supreme Court justice, but also of an era when engraved postage stamps represented some of the finest examples of miniature art. The combination of history, craftsmanship, and collecting enjoyment is what makes Philately such a rewarding hobby. Whether your example is worth a few cents or several dollars, every stamp has historical significance that cannot be measured only by its market price. The joy of collecting comes from discovering stories behind these tiny works of art, learning about the people they honor, and preserving them for future generations. Sometimes the greatest treasure is not the most expensive stamp, but the knowledge gained while building a collection. Next up, the United States 15-cent John Jay postage stamp. Whether you are a beginner in stamp collecting or an experienced philatelist, this video will give you everything you need to know about this fascinating stamp. We will explore the history behind the man featured on the stamp, why it was issued, its design, printing process, collecting importance, rarity, condition factors, and most importantly, its current market value in today's stamp market. Stay with me until the very end, because I will also share valuable collecting tips that can help you identify whether the John Jay stamp in your collection is an ordinary example or one that could be worth considerably more. The stamp featured in today's video honors John Jay, one of the most important figures in the early history of the United States. John Jay was a founding father, a diplomat, a statesman, and the very first Chief Justice of the United States Supreme Court. His contributions helped shape the American legal system during the country's earliest years. He also played a key role in negotiating the Treaty of Paris, which officially ended the American Revolutionary War and recognized the independence of the United States. Because of his extraordinary achievements, the United States Post Office honored him with this beautifully engraved 15-cent definitive stamp. At first glance, this stamp immediately stands out because of its elegant portrait and rich reddish-brown color. The detailed engraving captures John Jay with remarkable precision, highlighting the artistic skill of the Bureau of Engraving and Printing. Every fine line in his hair, clothing, and facial features reflects the craftsmanship that made engraved United States stamps famous throughout the world. The simple but classic design gives the stamp a timeless appearance that continues to attract collectors decades after it was first issued. This stamp was issued in 1958 as part of the Liberty series, one of the most popular definitive stamp series ever produced by the United States Post Office Department. The Liberty series featured many important American historical figures, national symbols, and patriotic themes. Unlike commemorative stamps that were printed for a limited time, definitive stamps such as this John Jay issue were printed in very large quantities to meet everyday postal needs. Millions of Americans use these stamps on letters, legal documents, business correspondence, and international mail during the late 1950s and early 1960s. The 15-cent denomination represented an important postal rate during its time of use. It paid for several classes of domestic and international mail, making it a commonly used stamp in daily postal operations. Because of this widespread usage, many surviving examples today are found with postal cancellations. Finding well-preserved mint examples with original gum is generally more desirable for collectors than heavily used copies. Although attractive, postally used examples also remain popular among philatelists. One of the reasons collectors admire this stamp is the quality of its engraved printing. Engraved stamps have a unique appearance that cannot easily be reproduced by modern printing methods. Under magnification, the tiny engraved lines become clearly visible, giving the portrait depth and texture. Many collectors believe engraved stamps represent the highest standard of traditional stamp production, and the John Jay stamp is an excellent example of this remarkable printing technique. Now let us discuss one of the most important topics for every collector: the condition of the stamp. Condition has an enormous impact on market value. A stamp with bright original color, crisp perforations, no tears, no creases, no stains, and excellent centering will always command a higher price than one showing signs of damage or heavy wear. Collectors carefully examine the margins surrounding the design because evenly balanced margins greatly improve the overall appearance and desirability of a stamp. The gum on the reverse side also plays an important role for unused examples. A mint never hinged stamp, meaning the original gum has never been disturbed by a stamp hinge, is generally considered the most desirable condition. Such examples often sell for significantly higher prices than hinged mint copies. Professional grading services may assign numerical grades based on centering, freshness, and overall quality. High-grade certified examples frequently achieve premium prices at specialized stamp auctions. Now let us answer the question that most collectors want to know. What is the John Jay 15-cent United States postage stamp worth in today's market? The answer depends primarily on condition, centering, and whether the stamp is used or unused. A typical used example in average condition usually sells for between 25 cents and $1. A particularly attractive used copy with light postal cancellation and excellent centering may sell for $1 to $3. Mint hinged examples generally range from $1 to $5 depending on quality. Mint, never hinged examples with fresh gum and excellent centering often sell between $5 and $15. Exceptionally well-centered professionally graded examples can reach $25, $50, or even higher when sold through specialized philatelic dealers or auction houses. Although these higher prices are reserved for outstanding examples, they clearly demonstrate how condition can dramatically influence market value. Collectors should remember that catalog values and actual selling prices are not always the same. Stamp catalogs provide useful guidance, but real market prices depend on collector demand, availability, auction competition, and overall economic conditions. The best way to estimate current value is by reviewing recent auction results and completed sales from reputable philatelic dealers. Another exciting aspect of collecting is searching for printing varieties and production errors. While the standard John Jay stamp is common, unusual examples with significant misperforations, dramatic shifts in printing, color variations, or other production abnormalities may attract much greater interest from collectors. Genuine production errors are relatively rare and should always be authenticated by recognized philatelic experts before being offered for sale. Many beginning collectors underestimate the importance of proper storage. Stamps should always be handled using stamp tongs rather than fingers to prevent oils and moisture from damaging the paper. High-quality stamp albums, stock books, and archival storage materials help preserve stamps for decades. Protecting your collection from sunlight, humidity, and dust will maintain both its beauty and its value. The John Jay stamp also holds an important place in thematic collecting. It is highly desirable for collectors specializing in American history, United States Supreme Court justices, founding fathers, constitutional history, engraved stamps, Liberty Series issues, and classic 20th century United States definitive stamps. Because of these multiple collecting themes, the stamp continues to enjoy steady demand among collectors worldwide. Although millions of these stamps were printed, every surviving example carries a piece of American history. Each stamp represents a period when handwritten letters formed the backbone of communication across the nation. Business contracts, personal correspondence, government documents, and family letters all traveled through the mail-bearing stamps, just like this one. Every used example tells a unique story of its own journey through history. For many collectors, the true value of the John Jay stamp extends far beyond its monetary worth. It represents the legacy of one of America's greatest legal minds, the artistic excellence of engraved stamp production, and the enduring appeal of traditional philately. Whether your stamp is worth a few cents or several dollars, it remains an important historical artifact that connects us with the people and events that shaped the United States. As stamp collecting continues to grow around the world, classic United States issues such as the John Jay 15-cent stamp remain affordable, educational, and enjoyable additions to every collection. They offer new collectors an opportunity to study history while building beautiful collections without spending large amounts of money. At the same time, advanced collectors continue searching for exceptional examples with perfect centering, original gum, and professional certification. Next up, the United States. The beautiful 15-cent Statue of Liberty postage stamp. This classic stamp is admired by collectors around the world, not only because it features one of the greatest symbols of freedom, but also because it belongs to one of the most popular definitive stamp series in American philatelic history. In this video, we will take an in-depth look at the history behind the stamp, the significance of the Statue of Liberty, the design and printing process, its place in stamp collecting, factors that affect its value, and most importantly, its current market value in today's stamp market. Stay with us until the end, because I will also share expert collecting tips that may help you determine whether the Statue of Liberty stamp in your collection is an ordinary example or one that could be worth much more than expected. The stamp you see today features the magnificent Statue of Liberty, standing proudly on Liberty Island in New York Harbor. Since its dedication in 1886, the Statue of Liberty has become one of the world's most famous monuments and a universal symbol of freedom, democracy, hope, and opportunity. The statue was a generous gift from the people of France to the United States in celebration of the friendship between the two nations and the ideals of liberty that both countries cherished. For generations of immigrants arriving by ship, the first sight of Lady Liberty represented the beginning of a new life filled with hope and possibility. Because of its enormous historical and cultural importance, the United States Post Office selected the Statue of Liberty as the central design for this beautiful, definitive stamp. This 15-cent stamp was issued in 1954 as part of the famous Liberty Series. The Liberty Series became one of the most widely used definitive stamp series in American postal history. Unlike commemorative stamps, which are printed for special occasions and often remain on sale for only a limited period, definitive stamps are produced in much larger quantities because they are intended for everyday postal use over many years. Millions of these Statue of Liberty stamps were printed and used on letters, business mail, government documents, greeting cards, and international correspondence throughout the United States during the 1950s and 1960s. One of the first things collectors notice about this stamp is its elegant black engraved design. The detailed image of the Statue of Liberty is framed by an ornate decorative border that gives the stamp a classic appearance. Across the top are the words United States Postage, while the bottom displays the denomination of 15 cents. The word Liberty appears beneath the statue, reinforcing the powerful symbolism behind the design. Even though the stamp is relatively simple in appearance, the fine engraved lines demonstrate the extraordinary craftsmanship of the Bureau of Engraving and Printing, whose engravers produced some of the finest postage stamps in American history. The engraving process used to produce this stamp deserves special attention. Unlike modern offset printed stamps, engraved stamps are created by carefully cutting fine lines into steel printing plates. Ink fills these engraved lines before being transferred onto paper under tremendous pressure. The result is a highly detailed image with remarkable sharpness and depth. Under magnification, collectors can appreciate thousands of tiny engraved lines that combine to form the image of the Statue of Liberty. This level of craftsmanship makes engraved stamps especially popular among philatelists. The 15-cent denomination was significant during the period when this stamp was in regular postal use. It paid for certain domestic and international postal rates, making it an essential part of everyday mail service. Because millions of Americans use this stamp regularly, large numbers survive today in both used and unused condition. However, finding examples in exceptional condition remains a challenge and is one of the reasons why premium quality specimens attract greater interest from collectors. When evaluating any stamp, condition is always one of the most important factors affecting value. Collectors carefully examine the color, centering, perforations, gum, and overall appearance. A stamp with bright original color, perfectly intact perforations, and no tears, creases, stains, or thinning will always be more valuable than one showing damage or excessive wear. Even small faults can reduce market value considerably. Centering is another characteristic that experienced collectors study very carefully. A beautifully centered stamp with equal margins on all four sides is much more desirable than one where the design is shifted toward one edge. Since many stamps from this period were not perfectly centered during production, exceptionally well-centered examples are less common and often command premium prices. Unused examples are also evaluated according to the condition of the gum on the reverse side. A mint, never hinged stamp, meaning the original gum remains completely untouched, is generally considered the finest condition available. Such examples are highly desirable and usually sell for higher prices than stamps that have been previously hinged in an album. Professional grading services may certify outstanding examples, and stamps receiving very high numerical grades frequently sell for substantial premiums at specialized stamp auctions. Now let us discuss the question that every collector wants answered. What is the current market value of the 15-cent Statue of Liberty stamp today? The answer depends on several important factors, including condition, centering, gum quality, and whether the stamp is used or unused. A typical used example in average condition usually sells for approximately 25 cents to $1. A clean, lightly canceled example with excellent centering may sell for $1 to $3. Mint hinged examples generally range from $1 to $5 depending on their overall quality. Mint never hinged examples with fresh original gum and outstanding centering often sell for $5 to $15. Professionally graded examples in superb condition may achieve prices ranging from $25 to $50 or even higher through specialized stamp dealers and philatelic auction houses. Although such premium prices are uncommon, they clearly demonstrate the tremendous influence that condition has on market value. Collectors should also remember that printed catalog values are only general guides. Actual selling prices depend on collector demand, recent auction activity, dealer inventory, and overall market conditions. The most accurate estimate of current value comes from reviewing completed sales through reputable stamp auctions and established philatelic dealers, rather than relying solely on older catalog listings. One exciting aspect of stamp collecting is the search for unusual varieties and printing errors. While the standard Statue of Liberty 15-cent stamp is common, production mistakes such as dramatic misperforations, Color shifts, missing perforations, double impressions, or other printing abnormalities can be much more valuable. Genuine production errors are relatively rare and should always be authenticated by recognized philatelic experts before being offered for sale. This stamp is especially popular among thematic collectors. It is collected by those interested in American history, national monuments, symbols of freedom, patriotic themes, architecture, engraved stamps, Liberty Series issues, and United States definitive stamps. Because it fits into so many collecting categories, demand has remained steady for decades, ensuring that it continues to be an attractive addition to stamp collections around the world. Proper preservation is essential for maintaining both the beauty and value of this stamp. Always handle stamps using stamp tongs rather than your fingers to avoid transferring oils and moisture to the paper. Store stamps in acid-free albums or archival quality stock books and keep them away from direct sunlight, excessive humidity, dust, and extreme temperatures. These simple precautions can help preserve a stamp's condition for many decades. Although millions of copies of this stamp were produced, every surviving example represents an important piece of postal and American history. Every used stamp tells a story of a letter that once traveled across the country or around the world. It may have carried family news, business correspondence, legal documents, holiday greetings, or messages that connected people across great distances. These everyday journeys are part of what makes stamp collecting such a fascinating and meaningful hobby. The Statue of Liberty itself remains one of the greatest symbols of hope in the world, and this stamp serves as a miniature work of art, honoring that legacy. It reminds collectors that stamps are much more than simple pieces of paper used for postage. They preserve history, celebrate national achievements, honor important landmarks, and connect generations through the stories they tell. Whether your Statue of Liberty 15-cent stamp is worth only a few cents or several dollars, it deserves a place in any collection because of its historical significance, beautiful engraving, and enduring popularity among collectors. While most examples are affordable, exceptional specimens in outstanding condition continue to attract serious collectors and achieve impressive prices in today's philatelic marketplace. Thank you for watching Stamps Old World UK. I hope you enjoyed learning about the United States 15-cent Statue of Liberty postage stamp, its remarkable history, its beautiful engraved design, and its current market value in today's stamp market. If you have this stamp in your collection, let us know where you found it and what condition it is in. Every collection has its own unique story, and every stamp connects us to an important chapter in history. If you enjoy learning about rare stamps, classic postal history, valuable collections, stamp identification, market prices, hidden treasures, and fascinating stories from the world of Philately, be sure to subscribe to Stamps Old World UK. Thank you for joining us today. Happy collecting, and I look forward to seeing you again in our next exciting journey into the wonderful world of stamps.
Welcome back to Stamps Old World UK. Today we are exploring a beautiful and highly collectible classic United States postage stamp that has fascinated collectors for generations. This is the famous United States Parcel Post 50 cents Daring stamp, one of the most attractive designs ever issued by the U.S. Post Office. If you enjoy rare stamps, stamp collecting, postal history, and learning about the real market value of classic stamps, then stay with me until the end because today we will cover its history, design, rarity, different conditions, current market prices in US dollars, and the factors that can make one example worth only a few dollars while another can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. The stamp you are looking at is the United States Parcel Post 50 cents Daring issue. It was first released in 1913 as part of the famous Parcel Post series. This series marked a major change in the American postal system because it allowed larger packages to be sent through the mail at affordable rates. Before the introduction of parcel post service, mailing large parcels was difficult and often expensive. The United States Postal Service wanted to celebrate this new service with a special series of beautifully engraved stamps, each showing an important part of American industry and everyday life. Among these designs, the Daring stamp became one of the most admired because of its peaceful rural scene showing dairy cattle grazing in a field with a farm building in the background. The artwork on this stamp is truly remarkable. In the center of the design, a dairy cow grazes peacefully while several more cattle can be seen in the distance. Behind them stands a farm surrounded by trees, representing the importance of agriculture in the United States during the early 20th century. The detailed engraving demonstrates the incredible craftsmanship of American stamp printers during this era. Every line and every shadow was carefully engraved by hand, making this stamp not only a piece of postal history but also a miniature work of art. The stamp has a face value of 50 cents, which was considered a high denomination in 1913. At that time, 50 cents represented a significant amount of money and was mainly used for mailing heavier parcels rather than ordinary letters. Because of this, fewer examples were used compared to lower denominations, making well-preserved copies more desirable among collectors today. One of the reasons collectors love the Parcel Post series is that every value tells a story about American life. Lower values show transportation methods such as mail wagons and trains, while higher values celebrate industries including manufacturing, farming, harvesting, and dairying. The dairying stamp reminds us of an era when agriculture formed the backbone of the American economy and dairy farms supplied fresh milk to growing cities across the country. Now let us discuss the condition of this stamp, because condition is the single most important factor in determining its value. A heavily used copy with missing perforations, stains, tears, creases, fading, or damaged corners will naturally sell for much less than a well-preserved example. Collectors carefully inspect the centering of the design, the freshness of the color, the sharpness of the cancellation, and the quality of the perforations. Even two stamps that appear similar at first glance can have dramatically different market values depending on these details. If you have a used example with a normal postal cancellation, average centering, and no major faults, today's market value is generally between $8 and $30. These are the copies most commonly found in collections and dealer stock books. Although they are not extremely rare, they remain popular because they complete the famous Parcel Post series. A used copy with excellent centering, bright color, light cancellation, and attractive appearance may sell for $40 to $100. Collectors are often willing to pay a premium for stamps that have exceptional eye appeal even if they are not technically rare. If you own a mint example with original gum and no hinge marks, the value increases significantly. A mint lightly hinged example may be worth approximately $80 to $250. Depending on the overall quality and centering, a mint never hinged example in superb condition is much more difficult to find because many stamps from this period were mounted in albums using hinges. Examples with perfect original gum and outstanding centering may sell for $300 to $800, and exceptionally graded copies certified by professional grading services can exceed $1,000. Collectors should also know that there are special varieties within the Parcel Post series. Certain shades, printing differences, plate blocks, and postal history covers can command much higher prices. Covers showing genuine commercial parcel usage are especially desirable because they demonstrate how these stamps were actually used in everyday postal operations more than 100 years ago. Professional grading has become increasingly important in today's stamp market. Organizations such as the Philately Foundation and professional stamp experts examine stamps for authenticity and assign condition grades. A stamp graded very fine or extremely fine often sells for considerably more than an average copy because buyers have confidence in its quality and authenticity. Another important factor affecting value is centering. Centering refers to how evenly the design is positioned within the perforations. Poorly centered stamps are very common, while perfectly centered examples are much scarcer. A beautifully centered dairying stamp with rich color and clean perforations can easily bring several times the price of an off-center example. Color freshness also plays a major role. This stamp was printed in a rich carmine red color. Over decades, exposure to sunlight, moisture, or improper storage can dull the color. Collectors strongly prefer stamps with bright, original color because they display the engraver's work much more clearly. When examining your own stamp, always look carefully for hidden faults. Tiny tears, repaired perforations, thins on the back, creases, or regummed surfaces can reduce value dramatically. Even experienced collectors use magnification to inspect older stamps before purchasing them. The demand for classic United States stamps has remained stable because collectors around the world appreciate their historical importance and beautiful engraved designs. Parcel Post stamps are especially popular among thematic collectors interested in farming, agriculture, cattle, livestock, rural life, transportation, and American history. Many beginning collectors ask whether every old stamp is valuable simply because it is over 100 years old. The answer is no. Age alone does not determine value. Rarity, condition, demand, originality, centering, and authenticity all work together to establish the true market price. This is why one dairying stamp may sell for only $10 while another nearly identical example could realize several $100s at auction if you inherited a stamp collection containing parcel post stamps. It is worth taking the time to identify each stamp correctly. Small differences in watermark, perforation, gum condition, and printing quality can significantly affect value. Using a reliable stamp catalog and consulting experienced philatelists can help avoid costly mistakes. Collectors should always store classic stamps in acid-free albums or stock books using stamp tongs instead of fingers. Oils from the skin can damage gum and paper over time. Proper storage protects both appearance and long-term value. Auction houses continue to feature high-grade parcel post material because demand remains strong among advanced collectors. Exceptional certified examples often achieve impressive prices, particularly when accompanied by expert certificates confirming authenticity and condition. One fascinating aspect of the dairying stamp is how it reflects American life in 1913. At that time, dairy farming was an essential industry supporting millions of families. The peaceful countryside scene reminds us that stamps are more than payment for postage. They are tiny historical documents that preserve the culture, economy, and traditions of their time. As the stamp market continues to evolve, collectors increasingly seek quality over quantity. Instead of buying large numbers of average examples, many collectors prefer owning one outstanding example with excellent centering and fresh color. This trend has strengthened prices for premium quality stamps while keeping average copies affordable for beginners. If you discover this stamp in an old family album, do not clean it, wash it, repair it, or attempt to improve its appearance. Any alteration can reduce collector value. Leave the stamp exactly as you found it, and, if you believe it may be valuable, seek professional evaluation before selling. Overall, the United States 1913 parcel post 50-cent dairying stamp remains one of the most iconic and beautiful classic American stamps ever produced. Average used examples generally sell for $8 to $30. Attractive used copies often bring $40 to $100. Mint-hinged examples usually range from $80 to $250. Mint never-hinged copies may sell for $300 to $800. And superb certified examples can exceed $1,000, depending on condition, centering, originality, and current market demand. Next up, the beautiful United States 50-cent Thomas Jefferson definitive stamp, a classic issue that represents both American history and the outstanding engraving skills of the late 19th century. Whether you are an experienced philatelist or just beginning your stamp collecting journey, stay with me until the end because today we will explore the fascinating history of this stamp, its design, printing details, rarity, condition factors, collecting tips, and most importantly, its current market value in US dollars. The stamp you are seeing is one of the famous United States definitive issues featuring Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States and the principal author of the Declaration of Independence. Jefferson remains one of the most influential figures in American history, and his portrait has appeared on numerous stamps over the years. This particular 50-cent denomination stands out because of its elegant engraving, impressive size, and attractive orange color that immediately catches the eye of collectors. This stamp was issued during the late 19th century as part of the American Banknote Company definitive series. During this period, the United States Post Office produced some of the finest engraved stamps ever made. Every tiny line on Jefferson's portrait was carefully engraved by skilled craftsmen using traditional steel engraving techniques. Even with modern printing technology, many collectors believe that these classic engraved stamps possess a beauty and depth that is impossible to duplicate today. The portrait of Thomas Jefferson dominates the center of the design. Surrounding the portrait is an ornate frame decorated with intricate scrollwork and fine geometric patterns. The denomination of 50 cents appears in both lower corners, while the words United States Postage are elegantly placed around the oval portrait. The balanced design reflects the artistic standards of American stamp production during the Victorian era. When this stamp was first issued, 50 cents represented a significant postal value. It was mainly used for heavier mail, international correspondence, bulk business mailings, and special postal services. Because relatively fewer people needed such a high denomination compared to everyday letter rates, fewer examples were used in normal correspondence. This has contributed to the stamp's lasting popularity among collectors. One of the most fascinating aspects of this stamp is its historical background. During the late 1800s, the United States was expanding rapidly through industrial growth, westward settlement, and increasing international trade. The Postal Service played a critical role in connecting businesses and families across the nation. High-value stamps like this one helped facilitate commercial communication during a period of tremendous economic development. Collectors often notice that several versions of this Jefferson 50-cent stamp exist. Different printings, shades, paper varieties, perforation types, and watermark varieties may all influence value. Identifying the exact Scott catalog number is extremely important before estimating the market price, because to stamps that appear almost identical may actually belong to different printings with significantly different values. Now let us discuss the condition, which remains the single most important factor in determining the value of any classic stamp. A stamp with damaged perforations, heavy creases, stains, tears, faded color, or missing paper will usually be worth much less than a clean, attractive example. Experienced collectors carefully examine every detail before deciding how much they are willing to pay. Centering is another major factor. Ideally, the portrait should be perfectly balanced within the perforations. Many 19th century stamps were poorly centered during production, making beautifully centered examples much scarcer. A perfectly centered stamp can sometimes sell for several times the price of an average copy. Color also deserves close attention. This Jefferson issue is known for its rich orange appearance. Collectors strongly prefer stamps with fresh, vibrant original color. If the stamp has faded due to sunlight, moisture, or poor storage conditions, its value may decrease substantially. The gum on unused examples is equally important. Original gum without disturbance is highly desirable. Many older stamps were mounted in albums using hinges, leaving small hinge marks on the reverse, while lightly hinged examples remain collectible. Mint never hinged copies are considerably scarcer and command much higher prices. If your stamp is a used example with average centering, normal cancellation, and no major defects, today's market value generally ranges from $20 to $75. These examples are the most commonly encountered by collectors and dealers. A particularly attractive used example featuring excellent centering, light cancellation, bright original color, and strong eye appeal may sell between $100 and $250, especially if it has been professionally graded. An unused stamp with original gum that has been lightly hinged typically sells for approximately $150 to $400. Depending on condition and centering, a mint never hinged example in outstanding condition is much more desirable. These stamps commonly sell between $500 and $1,200. While premium certified examples with exceptional centering can bring $2,000 or more at major stamp auctions. Collectors should understand that professional grading has become increasingly important in today's philatelic marketplace. Independent expertising organizations examine stamps for authenticity, repairs, gum condition, and overall quality. Certified high-grade examples consistently achieve stronger auction prices because buyers have confidence in what they are purchasing. One exciting area of collecting involves postal history. Covers bearing this 50-cent Jefferson stamp used on genuine commercial mail are often more valuable than loose stamps. Covers demonstrating unusual postal routes, foreign destinations, or multiple high-value frankings attract considerable interest among advanced collectors. Another important consideration is authenticity. Because valuable classic United States stamps can be worth substantial amounts of money, altered or repaired examples occasionally appear in the marketplace. Professional certificates of authenticity provide reassurance for both buyers and sellers, particularly when dealing with expensive examples. If you have inherited an old stamp collection, this Jefferson stamp deserves careful examination. Do not remove hinges, clean the stamp, wash it, trim perforations, or attempt any repairs. Even well-intentioned restoration can significantly reduce collector value. Leave the stamp exactly as it is until it has been evaluated by an experienced philatelist or expertising service. Storage also plays an important role in preserving value. Collectors should keep valuable stamps in acid-free stockbooks or archival quality albums. Always handle stamps with stamp tongs instead of fingers to avoid transferring oils or moisture onto the paper and gum. The worldwide demand for classic United States stamps has remained steady because these issues combine outstanding engraving, historical significance, and lasting collector appeal. Many collectors specialize exclusively in 19th-century American stamps, making premium quality examples consistently desirable. One common misconception is that every old stamp is automatically valuable. In reality, age alone does not determine price. Market value depends on rarity, condition, centering, originality, gum quality, authenticity, demand, and current collector interest. Two stamps issued in the same year may differ in value by hundreds or even thousands of dollars because of these important factors. Auction records continue to demonstrate that collectors are willing to pay impressive prices for exceptional examples of classic United States stamps, while average copies remain affordable for beginning collectors. Superb certified examples continue setting strong prices whenever they appear at major philatelic auctions for collectors building a United States classic collection. The 50-cent Thomas Jefferson issue represents an essential addition. It combines historical importance, elegant design, and impressive craftsmanship into one beautiful engraved stamp that continues to be admired more than a century after it was first printed. To summarize today's market values, an average used example generally sells for $20 to $75. An especially attractive used copy often brings $100 to $250. An unused lightly hinged example typically ranges from $150 to $400. A mint never hinged copy usually sells between $500 and $1,200. And exceptional professionally certified examples can exceed $2,000, depending on rarity, condition, centering, originality, and collector demand. Next up, the beautiful United States 50 cents William Howard Taft stamp, a classic issue that honors the 27th President of the United States and later the only person in American history to serve as both President and Chief Justice of the United States Supreme Court. This stamp is admired by collectors for its elegant engraved portrait, historical significance, and strong demand in the worldwide stamp market. Stay with me until the end because today we will uncover the complete story behind this stamp, its historical importance, design, printing process, rarity, collecting tips, and its current market value in US dollars. The William Howard Taft 50-cent stamp was issued as part of the United States Presidential Series, commonly known by collectors as the Prexy Series, released in 1938. This remarkable set honored every president of the United States from George Washington through Calvin Coolidge. Each president appeared on a different denomination, with the face values reflecting both postal needs and the historical importance of the series. The 50-cent denomination featuring William Howard Taft became one of the higher value stamps intended primarily for heavier mail, registered mail, insured parcels, and international postal services. The design of this stamp is both simple and elegant. At the center is a finely engraved portrait of William Howard Taft facing left, capturing his distinguished appearance with remarkable detail. The engraving beautifully illustrates his famous mustache, formal attire, and calm expression. To the right of the portrait appear the words United States Postage, while beneath the portrait his full name and presidential years, 1909 to 1913, are clearly printed. At the bottom, the denomination of 50 cents is displayed prominently on both sides, creating a balanced and attractive design that remains one of the most recognizable issues of the Presidential Series. The Presidential Series was printed using the traditional line engraving method by the Bureau of Engraving and Printing in Washington, D.C. During this period, engraved stamps represented the highest standards of security printing. Skilled engravers spent countless hours creating steel dies capable of producing extraordinary detail. Every line visible on this stamp was engraved with incredible precision, making it a miniature work of art rather than simply a piece of postage. William Howard Taft occupies a unique place in American history. After serving as President of the United States, he later became Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, making him the only individual to have held both offices. His contributions to constitutional law, judicial reform, and public administration have ensured his lasting place in American history. By featuring Taft in the Presidential Series, The United States Post Office honored his remarkable public service and lasting legacy, although millions of these stamps were printed to meet postal demand. Collectors soon realized that high-quality examples would become increasingly desirable over time. Many stamps were used on parcels, packages, and business mail, often receiving heavy cancellations or rough handling. As a result, perfectly preserved examples are considerably less common than ordinary used copies. Condition is the single most important factor affecting the value of this stamp today. A used example with damaged perforations, creases, stains, faded color, or torn paper will usually command only a modest price. However, a well-preserved stamp with bright color, sharp perforations, excellent centering, and an attractive light cancellation can be worth considerably more. Centering is especially important for collectors. The ideal example has equal margins on all four sides, with the design perfectly balanced inside the perforations. Since many presidential series stamps were not perfectly centered during production, examples with exceptional centering are highly sought after and frequently sell for premium prices. Collectors also pay close attention to the freshness of the purple color. A stamp that has retained its original vibrant appearance is always more desirable than one that has faded because of sunlight, moisture, or improper storage. Original color greatly enhances both visual appeal and collector demand. For unused examples, gum condition becomes another major factor. Mint stamps with original undisturbed gum are significantly more valuable than those that have been hinged or regummed. Many collectors specifically search for mint, never hinged examples because they represent the stamp exactly as it left the post office many decades ago. Now let us discuss today's market value in US dollars. A typical used example with average centering and a normal postal cancellation generally sells for $1 to $5 because this stamp was printed in substantial quantities. Ordinary used copies remain affordable for beginning collectors. A particularly attractive used example with excellent centering, bright color, and a light cancellation may sell between $10 and $30. Especially if professionally graded, a mint lightly hinged example with original gum usually has a current market value ranging from $10 to $35. Depending on overall condition and centering, a mint never hinged example in exceptional condition generally sells for $40 to $150, while professionally graded superb examples with outstanding centering may reach $200 to $500 or even more when offered through specialized philatelic auctions. Collectors should remember that plate blocks and complete panes of the presidential series are also highly collectible. Plate blocks with original gum, especially in superb condition, often command prices significantly higher than single stamps because they are scarcer and appeal to advanced specialists. Postal history collectors also search for commercial covers bearing the 50-cent Taft stamp used on registered mail, insured parcels, international letters, and wartime postal services. Covers demonstrating genuine commercial use often carry additional historical significance and may sell for considerably more than individual stamps. Professional certification has become increasingly important in today's stamp market. Expertising organizations carefully examine stamps for authenticity, repairs, reperforation, regumming, and hidden faults. A certificate from a respected philatelic expert can significantly increase buyer confidence, particularly for premium quality examples. If you discover this stamp in an inherited collection, avoid cleaning it, soaking it, trimming perforations, or attempting repairs. Even small alterations can reduce its collector value. Always store stamps in acid-free albums or archival stockbooks and handle them with stamp tongs to preserve both the paper and original gum. One of the reasons collectors continue to appreciate the presidential series is its combination of historical importance, elegant engraving, and affordability. Unlike many rare 19th century issues, these stamps allow beginning collectors to build a beautiful and historically significant collection without spending large amounts of money, while still offering opportunities to acquire premium certified examples that command impressive auction prices. It is important to understand that age alone does not determine value. Although this stamp is more than 80 years old, its worth depends primarily on condition, centering, gum quality, originality, rarity, certification, and collector demand. Two examples that appear nearly identical at first glance may differ in value by hundreds of dollars simply because one has superior centering, or has received a high professional grade. Auction records continue to show that collectors are willing to pay substantial premiums for presidential series stamps that combine exceptional centering, flawless gum, vivid color, and professional certification. While ordinary examples remain inexpensive, the finest known copies consistently attract serious competition whenever they appear at major stamp auctions. For anyone building a United States stamp collection, the William Howard Taft 50-cent issue represents an essential addition. It honors one of America's most remarkable public servants while showcasing the extraordinary craftsmanship of the Bureau of Engraving and Printing. Its historical importance, elegant design, and accessibility make it one of the most enjoyable stamps to collect within the famous presidential series. To summarize the current market values, an average used example generally sells for $1 to $5. A high-quality used example may bring $10 to $30. A mint lightly hinged example usually ranges from $10 to $35. A mint never hinged copy often sells for $40 to $150. And superb professionally graded examples can realize $200 to $500 or more, depending on condition, centering, originality, and current collector demand. Thank you for watching Stamps Old World UK. I hope you enjoyed learning about the fascinating history and current market value of the United States 50 cents William Howard Taft stamp. If you enjoyed discovering rare stamps, valuable postal history, auction results, stamp identification, expert collecting tips, and real market values in US dollars, be sure to subscribe to Stamps Old World UK, like this video, and share it with fellow collectors around the world. Every stamp tells a story, every collection preserves history, and every new discovery brings us one step closer to uncovering the remarkable treasures hidden within the world of philately. Happy collecting, and I look forward to seeing you in our next video.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Stamps Old World UK. Today we are exploring one of the classic and recognizable stamps in American postal history, the beautiful blue 5-cent United States postage stamp featuring the portrait of George Washington. This stamp represents an important period in the history of the United States Postal Service and continues to attract collectors from around the world who admire its design, historical importance, and collectible value in today's stamp market. The 5-cent George Washington stamp is part of a long-running series of definitive stamps that were issued by the United States Post Office during the early 20th century. George Washington, the first president of the United States, appeared on many American stamps because he symbolized leadership, independence, and the founding of the nation. His profile portrait on this stamp became one of the most iconic images ever used in United States philately and remains instantly recognizable to collectors and historians alike. The design of this stamp is simple yet elegant. The deep blue color immediately catches the eye and gives the stamp a distinguished appearance. Around the portrait of Washington are decorative elements that frame the image beautifully while maintaining a formal and official look. At the top of the stamp are the words US postage, while the bottom clearly displays the face value of 5 cents. Even after many decades, the artistic detail and engraving quality continue to impress collectors and stamp enthusiasts around the world. During the period when this stamp was issued, 5 cents represented a significant postal rate for certain classes of mail and international correspondence. Millions of these stamps were printed and used across the United States as letters traveled between cities, states, and countries. Every used example of this stamp may have carried personal letters, business documents, historical messages, and stories that are now lost in time. This connection to history is one of the reasons why stamp collecting remains such a fascinating hobby for people of all ages. One of the most common questions collectors ask is about the market value of this stamp today in US dollars. The answer depends heavily on several important factors including condition, centering, gum quality, perforations, cancellation marks, and the exact issue and printing variety. A heavily used example with noticeable wear or damage may sell for as little as 25 cents to $1 in today's market. A clean and attractive used example with sharp perforations and good centering can often sell for between $2 and $10 depending on demand and quality. Mint examples that still retain their original gum and have never been hinged generally command higher prices. A well-preserved mint example may sell for $10, $20, or even more if it has exceptional centering and freshness. Professional grading services can significantly increase buyer confidence and may lead to higher selling prices in auctions and specialized stamp markets. Collectors should also know that some varieties of the 5-cent Washington stamp are much rarer than others. Certain printing methods, watermark varieties, perforation measurements, and paper types can make one version considerably more valuable than another. Rare varieties in excellent condition have sold for hundreds of dollars, and in exceptional cases, even higher prices have been achieved through specialized philatelic auctions. This is why proper identification using a stamp catalog is extremely important before assigning a final market value. Another factor influencing the value is whether the stamp has a clear postmark. Some collectors appreciate stamps with readable cancellation marks that show the city and date of use because they provide additional historical context. Postal historians often seek covers and envelopes bearing these stamps because they tell the story of how mail moved through the postal system during that era. The stamp market itself has changed significantly over the years. Online auction websites, specialized dealers, stamp shows, and collector forums have made buying and selling easier than ever before. While common examples remain affordable, demand for high-quality material continues to remain strong among serious collectors. Condition has become more important than ever, and even small differences in centering or gum condition can greatly affect the final selling price. For anyone who discovers this stamp in an old collection, family album, or inherited estate, it is always worth taking a closer look. What may appear to be an ordinary stamp could actually be a more desirable variety or a particularly well-preserved example. Using a magnifying glass, perforation gauge, and watermark detector can help identify important characteristics that influence value. Stamp collecting is more than simply buying and selling pieces of paper. Every stamp represents a snapshot of history, art, politics, and communication. The 5-cent George Washington stamp reminds us of an era when letters were the primary method of staying connected with friends, family, and businesses across great distances. Holding a stamp like this in your hand is like holding a small piece of American history. For new collectors, this stamp provides an excellent starting point because it combines historical significance with affordability. It is widely available, easy to study, and offers many opportunities to learn about printing methods, postal rates, and stamp identification. Experienced collectors also enjoy searching for better centered examples and scarce varieties to add to their collections. The future of classic United States stamps continues to look promising. While trends in collecting may change over time, iconic issues featuring George Washington have maintained steady interest for generations. Their historical importance ensures that collectors will continue to appreciate and preserve them for years to come. Next up, the most famous and historic stamps ever issued by the United States Post Office, the classic 1-cent Benjamin Franklin stamp. This remarkable stamp is more than just a small piece of paper. It is a symbol of American history, early communication, and the development of one of the world's largest postal systems. For collectors around the globe, the 1-cent Franklin remains one of the most collected and recognized stamps in philatelic history. The stamp features the portrait of Benjamin Franklin, one of the founding fathers of the United States and an individual who played a major role in the creation of the American Postal Service. Long before becoming famous as a statesman, inventor, scientist, and diplomat, Benjamin Franklin served as the first Postmaster General of the United States. Because of his contribution to postal history, his image appeared on countless American stamps over many decades. The design of the 1-cent Franklin stamp is elegant and highly detailed. The portrait of Franklin is placed in the center of the stamp and surrounded by beautiful ornamental engravings that showcase the incredible craftsmanship of early American stamp production. The words U.S. postage appear prominently at the top, while the denomination of 1 cent is displayed clearly at the bottom. The combination of artistic engraving and practical design helped make this stamp one of the most iconic issues in American postal history. This stamp was produced during a period when 1 cent represented an important postal rate within the United States. Millions of letters, postcards, newspapers, and printed materials traveled across the country using 1 cent Franklin stamps. Every surviving example carries with it the possibility of a fascinating story. It may have traveled across busy cities, small farming communities, or even across oceans, connecting families and businesses during a rapidly changing world. One of the most common questions asked by collectors is what this stamp is worth in today's market. The answer depends on several important factors, including the exact year of issue, the printing method, the watermark type, the perforation size, the condition of the stamp, and whether the stamp has been used or remains in mint condition. A typical used example of the common 1 cent Benjamin Franklin stamp in average condition often sells for between 25 cents and $2 in today's market. Examples with attractive centering, sharp perforations, and a clear postmark may sell for between $3 and $10 depending on collector demand and the specific variety. Mint examples with original gum and no hinge marks are considerably more desirable to collectors. These stamps may sell for $10, $20, $50, or even higher depending on their condition and rarity. Stamps that receive professional grading with exceptionally high scores can achieve premium prices in auctions and dealer sales. Collectors should remember that some Franklin stamps look very similar, but can have dramatically different values. Certain watermark varieties, perforation types, coil issues, and printing differences can transform an ordinary stamp into a valuable collectible worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. This is why serious collectors always recommend proper identification using specialized stamp catalogs, such as the Scott Catalog, before making any assumptions about value. Condition plays a huge role in determining market price. A stamp with damaged perforations, tears, heavy creases, stains, or missing gum will usually be worth significantly less than a clean and well-preserved example. On the other hand, a perfectly centered stamp with bright colors and strong impressions can command a premium among collectors who focus on quality. Another fascinating aspect of the 1-cent Franklin stamp is postal history. Covers and envelopes bearing these stamps often attract great interest because they provide evidence of historical postal routes, rates, and communication patterns. A simple envelope carrying a 1-cent Franklin stamp from a small town over 100 years ago can become an important historical artifact that tells a story far beyond the stamp itself. The popularity of Benjamin Franklin on United States stamps has remained strong for generations. His importance in American history and his direct connection to the Postal Service make these stamps favorites among beginners and advanced collectors alike. Many collectors begin their United States collections with Franklin and Washington issues because they offer an incredible opportunity to study printing technologies, postal rates, and design evolution over many decades. The stamp market today continues to show steady interest in classic American issues. Online auctions, specialist dealers, stamp exhibitions, and international marketplaces allow collectors from every corner of the world to buy and sell Franklin stamps with ease. While common examples remain affordable and accessible, rare varieties continue to attract serious competition whenever they appear at auction. For anyone discovering a 1-cent Franklin stamp in an inherited collection or an old family album, it is always worth taking a closer look. Small details such as watermark orientation, paper type, perforation measurements, and printing characteristics can make an enormous difference in value. Many collectors have discovered unusual varieties hidden among ordinary collections. Stamp collecting offers much more than financial value. Every stamp represents history, art, technology, and human communication. The 1-cent Benjamin Franklin stamp reminds us of a time when letters connected families across vast distances, and when the Postal Service formed the backbone of communication throughout the nation. For new collectors entering the hobby, this stamp provides an excellent educational opportunity. It teaches important lessons about identification, condition grading, printing methods, and market evaluation. For experienced collectors, it offers endless opportunities to search for rare varieties and high-quality examples that can become highlights of a collection. As we look toward the future, classic American stamps featuring Benjamin Franklin continue to hold an important place in the world of philately. Their historical significance ensures they will remain popular among collectors for many generations to come. Whether you collect for investment, history, or simple enjoyment, the 1-cent Franklin stamp remains one of the true classics of world stamp collecting. Next up, the magnificent 15-cent Statue of Liberty stamp. This classic issue captures one of the most recognizable symbols of freedom in the world and remains a favorite among collectors of American stamps and world philately. The combination of stunning artwork, historical importance, and collectible appeal makes this stamp a true treasure for stamp enthusiasts everywhere. The centerpiece of this remarkable stamp is the Statue of Liberty, standing proudly in New York Harbor with her torch raised high toward the sky. Since her dedication in 1886, the Statue of Liberty has represented freedom, democracy, hope, and opportunity for millions of people arriving in the United States from all corners of the world. Featuring this iconic monument on a postage stamp was a fitting tribute to one of the nation's most cherished symbols. The design of the stamp is elegant and highly detailed. The Statue of Liberty stands within a decorative arch that frames the monument beautifully while emphasizing its grandeur and importance. The words United States Postage surround the upper section of the design, while the denomination of 15 cents appears boldly at the lower corners of the stamp. The engraving quality demonstrates the incredible craftsmanship of American stamp printers during the golden age of stamp production. This stamp was issued during a period when 15 cents represented an important postal rate for heavier domestic mail, registered mail services, and certain international postal charges. Millions of letters and parcels bearing this stamp traveled across the United States and around the world, connecting families, businesses, and governments during an era when written correspondence was the primary method of communication. Every surviving example of this stamp carries with it a small piece of postal history and the possibility of untold stories from the past. One of the questions most frequently asked by collectors is the current market value of the 15-cent Statue of Liberty stamp in today's United States dollar market. The value depends on several important factors, including the year of issue, the exact catalog number, the condition of the stamp, the quality of centering, the sharpness of the perforations, and whether the stamp is used or mint. A common used example with visible cancellation marks and average condition often sells for between 50 cents and $3 in today's stamp market. Better quality used examples with attractive centering and clear details may sell for between $5 and $15 depending on collector demand and overall appearance. Mint examples that retain their original gum and have never been hinged generally command higher prices. A well-preserved mint copy may sell for $10, $25, or even $50 depending on its quality and scarcity. Professionally graded examples with exceptional centering and outstanding preservation can achieve considerably higher prices at auction and specialist stamp dealers. Collectors should remember that certain varieties of this stamp may be considerably rarer than standard issues. Differences in perforation measurements, paper type, printing methods, and watermark varieties can dramatically increase value. Some rare examples and specialized varieties have sold for hundreds of dollars, while exceptional pieces with unique characteristics can command even stronger prices in major philatelic auctions. Condition remains one of the most important factors affecting value. Collectors look carefully for faults such as tears, creases, stains, thin spots, missing perforations, or fading colors. Even minor imperfections can significantly reduce value, while examples with bright colors, strong impressions, and excellent centering often attract premium prices from serious collectors. Postal history collectors are especially interested in covers and envelopes bearing the 15-cent Statue of Liberty stamp, because these items help document historical postal routes and rates. A letter mailed overseas using this stamp may provide valuable insight into international communication during the early 20th century. Such postal history items often carry premiums beyond the value of the stamp alone. The Statue of Liberty has always held a special place in American culture and history. For immigrants arriving by ship into New York Harbor, seeing the statue for the first time represented the beginning of a new life and new opportunities. By placing this symbol on a postage stamp, the United States Post Office created a powerful reminder of national values and aspirations that could travel across the country and around the world. For beginning collectors, this stamp offers an excellent introduction to United States commemorative and definitive issues. It combines historical significance with attractive design and remains affordable for most collectors. For advanced philatelists, the challenge lies in locating superior examples, rare varieties, and postal history items that help tell the complete story of this fascinating issue. The global stamp market continues to show strong interest in classic United States stamps featuring national symbols and landmarks. Online marketplaces, international auctions, stamp exhibitions, and specialist dealers provide collectors with many opportunities to buy, sell, and study these historic issues. While common examples remain accessible and affordable, top-quality specimens continue to perform strongly in the collector market. If you discover a 15-cent Statue of Liberty stamp in an inherited collection, an old album, or a family archive, it is always worth examining carefully. A simple check of perforations, watermark type, and printing details could reveal a more valuable variety hiding among ordinary stamps. Many important discoveries in philately have been made by collectors who took the time to investigate small details. Stamp collecting is about far more than market prices and catalog values. Every stamp tells a story about history, culture, technology, and communication. The 15-cent Statue of Liberty stamp reminds us of a period when letters connected continents and when postage stamps served as ambassadors of national identity and pride. For collectors around the world, the Statue of Liberty remains one of the most admired themes in philately. Its message of freedom and hope continues to resonate with people of all backgrounds and generations. That universal appeal helps ensure that stamps featuring this iconic monument will remain highly collectible for many years to come. Thank you for joining Stamps Old World UK for another exciting journey into the fascinating world of stamp collecting. If you enjoy learning about the history, rarity, and market value of classic stamps from around the world, make sure to follow the channel for more detailed stamp stories and market updates. Every stamp carries a journey through history, every collection preserves memories from the past, and every collector helps keep the rich tradition of philately alive for future generations. Until next time, keep collecting, keep discovering, and keep exploring the incredible stories hidden inside the world's stamps, one stamp at a time.